Hey guys, this is Mark, and a quick message to men on the autism spectrum. If you have ASD Level 1, you're going to have some degree of mind blindness. And sometimes what ends up happening with that is you think you're smarter than everybody else. But other people see that and they go, he thinks he's smarter than everybody else. And that makes you look dumb. Okay? But other people can see that and you don't see that you're not the smartest person. It's like having spaghetti sauce all over your lip here, and you're talking to people, acting like everything's normal, don't even know what's going on, and other people are looking at you like, this guy doesn't even realize he has spaghetti sauce all over dripping down his chin. And so, if you have ASD Level 1, you're going to have some mind blindness, and you may be thinking, and you may have thought for a long time, I'm smarter than anybody else. Other people can see that you think you're smarter than everybody else, and they don't agree.
Hey, quick message to ASD husbands. If you're married to a neurotypical wife who is super intuitive and an empath, I'm going to be praying for you hard and long, because she's playing major league and you're like playing t-ball. She's also super smart socially, super smart emotionally, and intuitive. She's going to expect you to match her. Yikes. I'll be praying for you.
We have to make a huge paradigm shift. This is going to be hard to do for you and others. I mean, I'm really going out on a limb here and asking a lot of you. But in the spirit of happy wife, happy life. Some of you are probably sick of that cliche, but it is so true. Because when she's all pissed off, unless you're just gone at work or you've taken off and shut down somewhere, it's like a dark cloud hanging over. It's worse than a dark cloud hanging over your head. It's a dark cloud that's raining on you and striking you in the ass with lightning. So in the spirit of keeping the peace, we have to make this shift from, I'm going to listen to mount a defense because I know I'm right and she's wrong, over to, I'm going to listen to understand her perspective. And this is going to take practice, and you're going to flub it up, and you don't beat up on yourself when you flub it up. You just go, okay, well, I got all passionate again, and I know I'm right, and her opinion is just basically dumb. I can't even believe she believes that. But now I got to go back to the blackboard and try again. And that's fine. There's going to be a lot of trying again. A lot of fail, try, fail, try, fail. That's the way it's supposed to go. That's the way it will go. You practice. Here it is again. Now, I'm not talking about every conversation, the weather, sports, the stuff that you're really adamant about. There needs to be a little trigger goes off in your head. Okay, this is a hot topic for me, and this is where I usually go nuclear and insist that my way is the only way. So what I'm going to do instead, to reduce my relationship stress, I'm not even doing this for her, is I'm going to listen instead of thinking about what I'm getting ready to say so I can mount a very factual, smart defense. I'm going to now listen to understand. I'm going to stop what I'm doing. I'm going to look in her direction. I'm going to nod while she's talking. I'm going to tactfully stop her periodically before she goes on too long, because I want to paraphrase back what she said. And if she gets on to point 2 and 3 in her message delivery, I may forget what point 1 was. So when she gets on to point number 2 or 3, I'm going to say, would you mind if I check and make sure I got it so far? So what I understand you're saying is blah, 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 blah. And you're going to paraphrase, not parrot back. You're going to paraphrase back. She might say, no, that's not what I mean. You can say, well, would you mind trying again with slightly different wordage? She'll try it again. You'll get it the first or second time out. You'll say, so what you're saying is blah, blah, blah. She's going to say, yes, that's what I mean. That proves understanding. If you can paraphrase back what she said and she goes, yes, that's what I mean, that by default proves understanding. If you're more interested in keeping the peace than making a point, then while she's talking, have the thought, I'm listening to understand, and I'm going to paraphrase this back here in a minute. versus I'm listening, but not really. I'm thinking about how I'm going to come back and mount a defense. You have to make that shift.
What kind of humor can you find in your neurodiverse marriage? Yeah, I said, what kind of humor can you find in your neurodiverse marriage? I'm sure it's replete with very funny, curious, paradoxical irony. And so one of the things that you can do, instead of going, oh, that shouldn't have happened, and that hurt, and why do I have to keep going through this? No, wait. What's the funny part about it? You can get creative. Come on. I've lost track of the funny shit that has been reported to me in this neurodiverse marriage. So I know that there's plenty of opportunities to go, well, that's odd, and that shouldn't have happened, versus that's interesting, and the irony in it is such and such. So be thinking in terms of how can I reframe some of these previously defined as undesirable episodes? How can I redefine those as, okay, that was at the very least interesting, but sometimes I'm going to go one step further and try to find the humor in it. So get creative and start thinking more positively with respect to how this is not just some destructive thing. It's actually interesting and funny at some level. Hey guys, this is Mark, and I got a tip for neurodiverse couples, and that is schedule an appointment to argue. Yeah, I said schedule an appointment to argue if there's going to be an argument, and walk while you're arguing. Okay? Why? Why do I want to schedule an appointment? So that it's kind of formalized. If you're married to someone with autism, he's going to want some structure and some rules, and he's not going to want you to just charge in and interrupt him. Hey, I got something I want to talk to you about now, especially when you're animated and angry as the NT wife. No, schedule an appointment, and when possible, walk while you are arguing. Why? Because eye contact sometimes can be very disturbing to your autistic husband. You won't be looking at one another if you're both walking in the same direction. Secondarily, you're going to be burning off adrenaline and cortisol and other fight or flight chemicals, because when you're arguing, the stress chemicals rear their ugly heads and makes it more likely that you're going to slip into some yelling, screaming, name calling, blaming, and so on. So you're going to be burning off that negative pent up anxiety energy, at least to a degree, while you're walking. Also, you're going to be oxygenating your brain because you're going to be breathing, which means you're going to think more clearly and be more creative in problem solving. Also, you're not going to be as likely to yell or scream or use profanity, etc. if you're out in public, whether you're walking at the park or around the block. So, in summary, if you're going to argue, that's fine. Fair fighting is acceptable. But schedule an appointment, unless it's emergent, which few things are, and make this appointment a walk. The two of you are going to walk around the block or at the park. Okay? Do it. Message to the neurodiverse couples out there. You know when your spouse says something and you stand there and look at them and you go, they just say that? And you're kind of doing a little quick analysis in your head, trying to decide if you want to be offended or not. Before you say anything, what I would do is have the thought, and just move on. Hey guys, this is Mark. I got a message to the neurotypical spouses out there, specifically neurotypical wives dealing with an autistic husband. I know you're discouraged, and you might be thinking, you know, this guy, he's so insensitive, uncaring, selfish, and narcissistic. And I understand, it looks like that. But what's really going on is he doesn't understand your emotions because he has this thing called ASD Level 1, or Asperger's syndrome, such that his social and emotional brain is underdeveloped. It's not like he sees your emotions and chooses not to give a shit. He doesn't see them. So it's not that he's being insensitive and uncaring and selfish and narcissistic.
he doesn't know what's going on in your head or in your heart. And the more you try to explain what's going on in your head and in your heart, the more you confuse the shit out of him. And the more he wants to leave you, not necessarily in the form of divorce, but in the form of shutdown. So I have to tell you, you need to make a paradigm shift. The paradigm shift being, okay, good, bad, right or wrong, I'm married to someone who's autistic. He has a disorder. It's not a condition or a different way of thinking or a different ability. Now, he does have high IQ, and he has very much a high logical intelligence. But as far as social and emotional intelligence, no, he's low. And so the paradigm shift is, I'm going to have to make some accommodations. I guess I could just divorce him and leave him and say, screw this. That's fine too if you have to go there. But if you want to live with him, you have to realize that some of these things simply are not going to change. You're way up here with social and emotional intelligence, way up here with social and emotional needs, way up here with social and emotional skills. He's way down here. ASD Level 1 is a disorder such that the social and emotional brain is underdeveloped. He couldn't will himself or stand on his head in enough different ways to meet your emotional needs to the level that you want. And he has tried, and he's given up. He has said so many times, it doesn't matter what I say or do, it's never good enough. I can never make her happy. He's given up. He has given up. And he's frustrated. And whenever you try to push him into being a neurotypical, his anxiety comes up and he shuts down or melts down. So again, you really have two choices. I can just leave the guy and move on and find a neurotypical husband. Or I can accept the fact that these things that he says or does that are hurtful, and they are hurtful, or these things that he avoids saying or doing that I really wish he would say or do, he's simply not capable of doing it. I'm not trying to get him off the hook. He's very much on the hook. He's paid the price for these traits of ASD Level 1 from childhood. He's been on the receiving end of disapproval from childhood, and now yet again with you. So he's very much on the hook. You're not getting him off the hook or exonerating him by making some accommodations or showing some grace and mercy. You're just simply realizing, okay, I don't need to take it so personally. Yeah, the stuff he says or does, it hurts. The stuff I need him to do, he doesn't follow through with, that hurts. But it's not his fault. And it's not your fault. You didn't sign up for this marriage. He didn't sign up for autism. So, quick message to neurotypical spouses. Some of you, if not most of you, think that you know what's going on with autism. Yeah, this autism spectrum disorder, I know what's going on behind the curtain there. Selfishness, insensitivity, narcissism, sociopathy. Yeah. So those of you who think you know what's going on are going to suffer severely for a long time. I've been working in this field of autism for a long time. I'm not even sure the number of years at this point. And I've only scratched the surface of uncovering the mystery. I don't know much. Yeah, I'm admitting it. I don't know much. But at least I know that I don't know much. So some of you NT spouses that are so quick to pull the trigger on your knowledge about autism, it might be better to go, okay, I'm not really sure about this autistic mystery. I'm not sure what's really going on, but at least I know that I don't know what's going on. So, quick message to the neurotypical wives out there. If you're like most of the neurotypical wives I run into, she will say, well, I have to do all the relationship work. I do all the work, and I'm exhausted. Well, your work isn't working. So for you, I'm talking about the ladies that may be thinking, I have to do all the relationship work, but yet you're really struggling in this neurodiverse marriage. Less work is better in this case. Less work. You might be thinking, well, if I do less work, then I won't be able to resolve these issues. You won't be able to resolve them anyway.
your work is not working, not resolving much. In fact, you're probably making a bad problem worse too often. I'm not faulting you. Your heart's in the right place. You're doing the best you know how to do given the circumstances. Your intentions were good. It ain't working. Less is better right now. Hey guys, this is Mark. Feel free to email me. Right there's my email address. In the event that you would want to do a one-on-one session with me, we'll use Zoom. We'll meet for an hour. So if you are a neurotypical spouse struggling with your ASD spouse, or if you're an ASD spouse struggling with your neurotypical spouse, or I'm perfectly willing and prefer to meet with the two of you where both husband and wife are there. I don't care who's on the spectrum, who's not. Sometimes I work with the NT husband and the ASD wife and vice versa. It doesn't really matter on my end. So feel free to email me and we'll set something up, okay? Thank you.